okra. Some people think okra is fantastic, and other people think, oh, I don't know if I ever even want to try it. I've heard it's really slimy. Well, it can be, but the way I do it, it isn't. Although I have to say, when my grandfather made it, his was slimy, and I loved it when I was a kid. So I want to show you all the different ways you can get okra. And the growing season for okra is very small unless you live in the warm parts of the country where it grows really well. So I'm going to show you all the ways you can use okra that are not fresh today. So this is pickled okra, and if you'll notice it says mild because I like it mild, but you can also get it spicy, and it has got all the Cajun spice in it. So I want to show you what these look like. This is just whole okra that's been pickled, and it is so good. It's kind of like, I'm not a real pickle person, but I love pickled okra. And they're little whole okras like this, and then you just pick them up. And it usually has several different lengths in a jar, and usually the longer ones are turned upside down and the little ones are on top. And this is kind of the size of okra that you should buy at the store if you were buying it fresh. And then you just pick it up, hold it at the very top, and you just bite the rest of it off, or you can slice it off on your plate. This is a great substitute for pickles when you're having meat, especially off the grill. A great way to do it. So that is pickled okra. So let me move those out of the way. And then the okra also comes canned. You can get it year-round. And I wanted to show you what that looked like. Now, these have different tastes, of course, because one's pickled and one's not. And this is just processed okra in a can. And you'll notice the color is different. Now, if I was going to use this in a stew, the one thing I've always done is I've rinsed it off. Because when they put it in the can, they put citric acid and salt in it, and especially if you're on a low salt diet, you probably want to take this off, rinse it off so you get some of the sodium off, because it's 23% sodium in this can. This you could eat right out of the can if you wanted to, or you can add this at the very end of stews and gumbos. And you'll notice it's not slimy. See if I can pick one up for you. It's not slimy. It's just kind of crispy, just like a canned product. Okay, but I want to show you my favorite way. My favorite way to have okra is frozen. Now, they also come whole. I don't usually buy them whole, because again, I got to slice them up. This one is called cut okra, my favorite. And then this one's called breaded okra. And I use these two the most. And in this one, when you have the breaded okra, you saute it. Now, some people fry it, and I don't fry. So I usually saute. I use my favorite oil, whichever one you want. You put some in the bottom and you be sure it stays there. Now, the really trick to doing this well is you don't want your fire to be too low, or they become really gummy. And you just kind of saute them for a while. And the seasoning that is on here is really good. It's just exactly what I would want to do. And if I can't find the breaded frozen, that's what I do to the ones that are not frozen breaded, that they're just plain. And I actually make a concoction of masa harina and flour, and I put them on it, and then I do the same thing. And I have that recipe on my website. So this is the breaded kind. Now, if you don't want to taste the, you don't want any sliminess, this is the way to do it. Because you gradually dry them out is what you've done. And when you dry it out, it makes it so it's less slimy. But this, it makes me hungry. I just feel like I just like to sit down and eat this pot because I can tell it's almost done. Now, the other kind that you buy that are not breaded, that they're just cut, if you don't want them, so get them breaded and then do this, what you do is you put it in the pan and you cook it. You boil it. Now, you don't boil it very long. In fact, this one is like pretty much done. And there you have, and if you'll notice, you'll see that sliminess. These are the slimiest ways that you could eat okra. Now, being slimy, you can see how it runs out. It doesn't run out like water. It runs out like sliminess. And you can see that they have sliminess to them. Now, I want to tell you, I love the sliminess. And the mucilage is inside of here. It's wrapped around each one of the little seeds. You can see the little white seeds in there? And they have a little crunchiness to this. Now, if somebody doesn't know if they like the okra or not, this is probably not the way to serve it. first, for their first experience. The way to serve it would be to do it in the sauteed part. Because as you see, it's getting drier. You can feel it as I touch it. I can feel that they're getting a little more crispier. And you can do these for quite a while. Now, when you get this one done, let's say, the best thing that goes with okra is tomatoes. And that's the way most people serve it in the southern states, is with tomatoes. My grandfather's recipe had whole okra with whole tomatoes, and he just simmered those, and then he added this really hot sauce to his. And those kids got the one that didn't have it, and it was slimy. But he felt like it was really good for us, and I just loved it. When we went there, he almost always made that for us. But see down here now, the difference between these two is that these are very juicy and slimy, and these are very dry, and you'll notice that some sides now are even getting brown on the side. Now, for the one that is breaded, a lot of people add a tomato sauce, and one of the best ones to add to this, if you wanted to drizzle tomato stuff on top, is marinara sauce. And you put this on top, and it makes a perfect dish. And then for this, if you wanted to, because if you like the sliminess of okra, you just want to eat this plain, just like this. You don't have to add anything to it. But you could also add the seasonings to it, and you usually serve this one over rice or next to rice. And you put the seasonings on it, and sometimes people add tomatoes to this too and put it on the rice. And that is just to die for. I know that a lot of people don't know what the uses of okra are, and it doesn't have a fantastic amount of nutrition, has some, and it has a real interesting flavor, so it adds a lot of variety to our dishes and to our menus. And it's one of those things that when your kids are growing up, have them exposed to okra. And I think it's going to become more popular. And in lunches, I highly recommend adding a couple of the pickled okra to it. And when you're cooking the meats, one of the things they say is that you need to add an acid food to it. And that's the reason why there's usually pickles on our hamburgers when we buy them. And you can add okra to your meat to add the acid to that. So go to my website. I have a lot more information about okra because I love it.